he's an educator, he's a teacher. He is also an author and of books. And of course, he has done a lot as it pertains to the education system in Belize. Also, you know, being someone who has helped to check in terms of the CXCs and in terms of math and science, and wrote books in those areas, no manuals as well. He is also a foreign columnist, and so he will come on like in the 15 minutes into the tonight's show, no? But before we move to him, he will be the main person discussing in this area. There is 1 and 2 videos that I feel is very important as a precursor into the discussion with Mr. Brian Plummer. Now, we had from the 22nd, today is the 24th, so 2 days ago, and still ongoing. There's this 75th, and let me just go ahead tonight. Good night, Mr. Gregory Morrison. I'm from Facebook here. I know we also have people on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, and of course we have people on Max TV, Max Television. It's on whichever channel is in your area. So I know Max Television is on channel 51 in Ladyville, Orange Walk, Corozal. And I believe, let me just say, I'm more in these areas, and so we also have them throughout the country. They're in all right, hold on, let me just go there. It's what? Channel 21 or 23, all right, in the other areas, which is Kaya. Don't worry, I'm gonna get that. I better start knowing all the channels that they're in, even though I'm not in Belmopan and all those areas. I need to know those areas. Okay, channel 14, that is Belize City, Cayo, Belmopan, Dangriga, and Punta Gorda, right? Cayo as well, right? That's channel 14. Okay, and San Pedro is channel 33. Okay, channel 33. All right, so I'm gonna have to, yes, so as I said, Ladyville is channel 51, and that's on Max TV, Max Television and Radio. We're live on there as well, and they're also on Orange Walk and Corozal. Once you have Central Cable, and you have your digital channels as well. So, all right, so that's with that. But let me just say hello, Gregory Morrison, all the way in California. Good night, my friend. Rachel Ann Elizabeth Balaramos. Good night, my friend. Claudette Simmons, good night to you. Darton Vader, nice to see you tonight. Nancy, my friend, Nancy De Paz, Keenan Flowers. And, okay, Rachel Balaramos is saying, Miss Moya, having your show every Tuesday and extended twice a week. Hoping you consider about it. Thanks. You know what, Rachel, you're not the first person who have brought this to my attention, who have asked if the show could be done more than once a week, all right? And so definitely it is something that I'll consider, definitely consider. Thanks for bringing it up. I've had a lot of people message me otherwise and call and, you know, ask, but I haven't, but you're putting me on the spot here. So definitely I have to say that I will ensure that we look into that. So thank you very much. Thank you for always watching, tuning into the show, participating. I really appreciate you, Rachel. Thank you, Nancy De Paz, my friend, always. Thank you, Nancy. You know, we gotta look good, man. We gotta look good. All right. So, and everybody, I'm going to go on LinkedIn, and those who are on LinkedIn and so forth who comment, I'm going to try and make sure I look at that. And I do know some people, they're watching otherwise. Some don't have refuse to go on Facebook, so they have been very pleased that we are live on the TV. So I want to big up Max Television and Radio. Big up to you guys. Awesome channel, wonderful music. They do their best. Beautiful, beautiful channel. Lovely people. So thank you, Michael Dwayne Salazar. Thank you, my friend. He says channel 14, Belize, and this is Max Television. Belize, Punta Gorda, Cayo, Dangriga, Belmopan. Channel 51, Ladyville, Orange Walk, Corozal, and San Pedro is channel 33. So big up everybody and I know that my friend Diona Pilgrim is in San Pedro, and I know she watches it sometimes. But she would do it on Facebook. So she and the others don't have to do that. They can watch it on Max Television and Radio. So I just want to let you know. But it's always good to have you guys on Facebook. I love it. I love the comments, and that's how you guys get through to me. Of course, LinkedIn, and I have to try and start to go on Twitter and read those comments and so forth. No, Instagram. But tonight's show is going to be an awesome show. As I mentioned, there is the 75th World Health Assembly, and it's been held in Geneva, Switzerland. That's in Europe, and it started 2 days ago. Today's the 24th. 2 days ago, the 22nd of May, and it will go until the 28th of May. And it is the first in-person health assembly since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. All right, they have their proceedings webcast live, and they have it available in the major languages. Now, there has been certain things that have come out that I feel is very important to us, because a lot of us may not have even known about this pandemic treaty, World Health Organization pandemic treaty, but it's something that will affect us. And for those of you who value your freedom, it's gonna, if it goes through this treaty, goes through, and we have, most countries have signed on to the Geneva Convention, and those countries will be the ones that will be expected to also sign on to this treaty. They also have a working group that while they want to go ahead and approve it here at this Davos, while they want to go ahead and approve it at this assembly, they will also have a working group to fine-tune what goes ahead, and what each country, listen to me, each country, including Belize, including our country, including Belize, or whichever other country, because I do know I have some of my friends watching from Africa as well, and I want to big up you guys from Africa, and of course Canada, the US, El Salvador would watch, Mexico, and the Caribbean. I want to big you up. We also had persons watching from England. So, I know there's a time difference, but for some reason they still managed to watch it. And so I just want to big up you guys as well. And we've also had on LinkedIn from, when was it? Was it Pakistan or India also watching? So thank you guys, thank you guys. So whichever country that you're watching from, this will affect you. This will definitely affect all of us once our countries sign on to it. Now, what happened during the COVID? What happened was that each country went through, their own deliberations as to whether or not they were going to go ahead and put us on lockdown, put their people on lockdown, go ahead, put them on curfew, go ahead, force or mandate that they have to, take what they call a vaccine, or go ahead and have to get the what you call the COVID, the pass, the ID, to have to go into restaurants, you have to have an ID. This thing was such that different countries could say whether or not they would take it. Now, I had a show a few weeks ago, remember? And I showed you how Africa, our strong country, our strong brothers and sisters, they were the continent. Though the majority of those countries did not go ahead and bow down to these individuals. You're going to see a few of them right now, did not go down and bow down to these people. They were strong black people who, you know, everybody, I mean, we should be proud of our African brothers and sisters. A lot of them stood strong. Their leaders stood strong, and, you know, we could only hope that we could have had leaders like them. But, you know, a lot of us, we did not have such strong leaders. And these people now, because they, and, you know, these are millions of people, these people did not bow down. We have like what? Right now the world has, what is it, 7.8 something, almost 7.9 billion persons as at May 2022. Okay? Now you know Africa is a huge continent. You know Africa isn't one continent either, one set of people, you know, oh, because they're African. No, they share different thoughts, they have different governance, they have different ways of living. Some speak English, some speak French. You know, you have people speaking predominantly their own language, dialects. So they're very diverse. However, one thing they had in common was that they were very much against forcing their people to, you know, get the job, as what people call it. Something had to be done then, since this is a huge country. And for those of you who always help me, you know, you can go ahead and let me know what the continent of Africa, how many people the continent, I said the continent of Africa has. No, how many people, what's their population? Because I do believe it's definitely over 1 billion, maybe 2 billion, I'm not sure. I know they're huge. I know they're huge as a continent. And so these individuals did not bow down. So what is happening now? We have right now the World Health Assembly, right, which is convened by the World Health Organization, but it's an assembly, who now they're meeting, and they are looking to push forward a pandemic treaty. Now, Mr. Plummer, Brian Plummer, and I had already discussed this a couple shows ago, but we didn't get all into it. Now we're getting into it because it's happening. We had informed it was going to happen, but now it is happening now as we speak. Once this treaty goes through, that's it for us. That's it. We're done. We're done. Our government, the Minister of Health, the government, or health, whoever will be leading, will simply just be puppets. They will be puppets. They won't have a say. Our leaders would pretty much be, I mean, you can throw them away, pretty much, and things would still happen. Because then the healthcare workers could just go through, because they would really not be listening to a Minister of Health. A Minister of Health would be useless in a pandemic, literally useless. There would be no need for a Minister of Health. No absolute need for a Minister of Health, because it's the World Health Organization who would be giving the directive. You heard me? The World Health Organization. If they want to say otherwise, that's on them. Because we have been doing our research, and that's something that we do. We don't play around. On this show, we do our research. We do not play around. We spend hours, days and days, weeks and weeks researching. Yes, we take the time. When you talk about investigative journalism, the Zenaida Moya show does investigative journalism. You best believe it. Because when we come here, we're going to come here with facts. We don't play around. Yeah, we may not have this huge staff, but we have people, including myself, and I'll take my time, I'll take my expertise, I'll take my resources, and I'll ensure that it happens. I put my money where my mouth is. So I want to tell you that it will be happening. The World Health Organization will be running a show, and if they tell us, remember there was lockstep, there's also the COVID-19, there's also the COVID-19, let me just tell you, the book. Remember I had also showed you guys a book on it. So there was already a book that described this. All right, I'm going to also go to that one. Yeah. All right, I see some comments on here too. Oh, okay, yeah. So everybody on YouTube, good night everybody also on YouTube and LinkedIn. So I want to say good night to you guys. But, so yeah, so today, let me go into this thing. Yes. So show that COVID-19 book. I want you guys to look at this book. I want you to look at this book, and I want you to know that this is real. This book here tells us what it means, what all that they were planning, and all of that. This shows exactly what will be happening. And let me just go here. All right, so we have here the COVID-19, the Great Reset. COVID-19, the Great Reset by Klaus Schwab and Thierry Malaret. All right, these are from the World Economic Forum. All right, you see it right there? That's it right there. All right, it's for sale, so it's real. This is not a conspiracy theory, people. This is no conspiracy theory. Don't let anybody tell you that, oh my God, you know, Z and his people, there's conspiracy. No, it's for real. And you can buy it if you want. I'm not saying to buy it. I'm just saying it's for real. These people put their thoughts and they're telling you what they want to happen. And they're the ones who will be running the show. They literally are the ones who will be running the show. There's no minister the minister would be useless. Literally useless. He would just be he or she, whoever, right now it's a male, but you never know what happens. That person would literally just be a rubber stamp. Would just be symbolic, a symbolic minister, a rubber stamp minister when it comes to the pandemic. The World Health Organization would be running a ship. And if the World Health Organization says, all right, we want monkeypox, all right, to be the new thing that will shut down because we deem that a pandemic, then monkeypox means that they can literally say, I don't think this is far-fetched, people, because as I mentioned last week, they already have had simulations on this. You understand? And if you ever look at what they said they put in the vaccine, you'll find out that's also in it, right? The monkey stuff. So Darton Vader says our ministers are rubber stamp ministers. But what I want to tell you is these individuals then, if they feel that every single individual must stay in their homes for a month, then that's what will happen. That's what will happen. You know what is happening in Shanghai, China? I tried to show you guys. Maybe next show I'm going to show you. In Shanghai, China, everybody's locked down. This is not something that you're thinking about. This is real, people. They can't even come out. They can't come out. They can't leave their homes. You see? Now, some of you don't mind. You never leave your homes. Some of you. But for a lot of us, we just want freedom. And even if we don't leave our homes, we want to know that we can leave. And don't call us rebellious. We are just free. We are people who value our freedom. And don't tell us we are not free and we ought not to be free and we don't need to be free. If you don't care to be free, that's on you. Okay? And yes, we know about mental slavery, and we do know that there are certain things that we may be slaves to. But that doesn't mean we want to be slaves. Alright? Some of us are mental slave to different stuff. We're mental slave to Facebook. As we wake up, it's Facebook, posting. Instagram, we post pictures, selfie. Some of us are slaves to putting on long eyelashes on our eyes and weave on our head and nails this long and wearing the highest fashion. So we're slaves to that too. So I know that we're slaves. Some of us are slaves to these individuals. So I want to tell you though that I am going to now show you a 1 and 2 videos. I want us to go to start the video and you're going to watch it. They're short, but you've got to do it. And then, just go ahead. Then we're going to bring you on. You're going to see what is happening there. Make sure you watch it, people. This is important.
The National Identity Management Commission, when created, was saddled with the task of identity management for all citizens. Decades ago, collating data for national development. Recent policy of the federal government to link NIN and SIM registration cards for the same purpose met stiff opposition on commencement, yet citizens complied. The NIMC declared 125 million SIM cards were submitted for registration, while 78 million SIM cards have been registered successfully. Both the NIMC and NIN SIM registration have one target: data collation for national growth, leaving no one behind.
The thing they should have done is to link with our service providers, and the same registration that has been done with all our service providers should also be adopted. So why going to duplicate documents? If I should put so name here, and maybe as a lady I got married, my status would have changed, my name would have changed. So why don't you get the person, okay, go back to your service provider, regularize your position, and the federal government can link into that, and it will help everybody.
E-card management.
Let's also be clear. The future is not just happening. The future is built by us, by a powerful community as you here in this room. We have the means to improve the state of the world. But two conditions are necessary. The first one is that we act all as stakeholders of larger communities, that we serve not our only self-interests, but we serve the community. That's what we call stakeholder responsibility. And second, that we collaborate. And this is the reason why you find many opportunities here during the meeting to engage into very action and impact-oriented initiatives to make progress related to specific issues on the global agenda.
First of all, I would say that we have to stick to global markets. If we are now, and this is a tendency I feel everywhere in the world, also in my country as well, also in Europe, if we are now saying, okay, first of all, Germany and other countries are caring for themselves, then we will increase the crisis. If we are only caring for our own food supply or energy supply, it must have a disastrous effect on the prices on the market. So first of all, we have to keep the markets open. Second, we have to see that we have to solve one problem, not on the back of another one. So if we are now increasing the production of fossil fuels and coal power plants all over the place, there's a drought in India. You mentioned it. We will definitely have more problems in the next years to come. So we have to see that climate neutrality, the big issue of the conference 2020, so 2 years ago, it seems like ages, but 2 years ago, it's not gone. So we have to solve one problem with the solutions of the other problem. And third of all, when I mentioned open markets, I like to stress out that the rules of the markets, they have to change. So the globalization, I think deglobalization is a wrong phrase. We shouldn't admit to that. We have to stick that we collaborate in one world and have some solidarity in the world, but therefore we have to change the rule of the markets as well. So these three things, I would say, give an idea where we have to heed to, and maybe this conference can also lead some ways into a more sustainable future.
Fast forward 5 years. Do we have a central bank digital coin out there in the world that is being utilized on a daily basis, whether it's wholesale or retail, and it becomes a superior system? Francois, yes or no?
We have several experiments which are not very far from that. Yeah. They are not yet generalized, but they could be let's say, the next 3 years, probably. It will go quicker on the wholesale side,
Yes.
I guess,
And
because
how
it
much
raises
is
less sensitive questions.
Yes, Axel.
No, I'm quite glad to hear what you're saying, Francois, on the wholesale digital currency, not coin. I am also a believer that will come in 5 years, yes. What I try to say is obviously, we still have those huge legacy environment. They need to migrate as well, so we will not yet see all the benefits coming through, but it will come and will be much more efficient, also probably much more secure, lowering transaction costs. On the retail side, I'm much more skeptical. Certainly call it for the established economies.
We are finding ourselves in a place where we have increasing polarization everywhere, and everything feels binary when it doesn't need to be. So I think we're going to have to think about a recalibration of a whole range of human rights that are playing out online, from freedom of speech to the freedom to, to be free from online violence, or the right of data protection to the right to child dignity.
The videos are short. I have a couple more. But before I go on, I want to just go ahead and, just introduce Mr. Brian Plummer. I want to introduce Mr. Brian Plummer and just tell you, that he's here. And again, Brian was here,
the beginning of the month.
Yeah, the beginning of the month. So, but when you notice the first video, okay, they spoke about globalization and changing the rule. All right, globalization and changing the rule. Remember, think about these people. Everything they're trying to deal with is in lockstep. Everything they want to do is they want a one world government. Keep this in your mind, people. That's why when I tell you ministers of government will not be important, they will not be important. Because there will be a one world government.
COVID, they took the instructions from the WHO. If the WHO said wear a mask, they tell us wear a mask. WHO said have curfew, they put curfew. Do lockdowns, they did it. They didn't make any independent decision. They took the cues from outside. The COVID was a test.
Just a test.
A beta test, they call it. See if people will listen, people will accept it.
Exactly. And so let me just say though that and then we just spoke for, this is Mr. Brian Plummer again, educator, author, and foreign correspondent. Very brilliant person. I like having him on the show because we learn so much from him, so much. And the globalization, and I'm going to go to the comments because I see people commenting indeed. They want to change the rules. They also speak about climate change. Then they speak about the central bank retail system. Then they speak about a recalibration of speech, of human rights. Now, when you look at this, and if you heard about it, and we're going to discuss it further, you're going to see that, let me just read it though. All right, Ruben Martinez says, Biden is the main problem for America's gas problems. All right, we're going to go to that. Biden is the main problem for America's gas problems. He wants everything to go green, which I have no problem with, but don't try to force me to buy something I can't afford. Give it to me. I'm talking about electric cars. All right? Everybody hates Trump, but he was trying to fight against the New World Order. And he was a main person, one of the main world leader trying to fight against this New World Order. Whether you like him or not, he was the main person, he was one of the main person leader trying to fight against it. And that's why they demonized him. And they'll do the same to me, they'll do the same to you, they'll do the same to Mr. Plummer. Once we speak against this, it's something that I'm okay with. It doesn't bother me. You know, I'm not this young little child that, you know, oh my God, you know,
It comes with the territory.
It comes with the territory, you know.
When you
I just have to make sure.
Minded, you'll experience that in life.
Exactly. So it doesn't bother us. That's please, whoever wants to say anything that's besides, that's their right. They have their right. I always say they have their right. No, quickly, what they're looking to achieve though is this one world government. What they're looking to achieve as well. When they speak about globalization and they spoke about, you know, people shouldn't worry about their own country, you should deal with globalization, you should deal with everything as a whole. They want you to think this utopian way. They want to think this manner that, you know what? It is good to not think about yourself, not to think about your country. But why? Why is that? I mean, some of you will say, but that's a good thing. That's beautiful. See, that's wonderful. That's lovely. You should think, yes, you should think about your neighbors. But who will be controlling everything? It's just a few people who will be controlling everything, at least right now. You have so many people and you have countries actually having sovereignty and a say over where they were born. But that won't happen anymore. I told you, our elected leaders will be useless. You will have every area.
They'll be equivalent to a CEO. They'll take instruction from somebody.
That's what they will be.
Technocrats, they call them.
Technocrats. And so that is the reason why you have to, because listen to me, we in Belize, for example, we want referendum on certain things, don't we? Don't we want a say on things? Don't we want a say on certain things? Well, I'm going to tell you that we won't have a say. When all this comes true, we will not have a say. Our government will not have a say. If they say to cut down, to lock people in their homes for 1 month, our government will not have a say. They will just have to comply. They will just have to carry it out, mandate it. You will have whoever would be the commissioner of police at that time, or if it's the current one, or whoever it is, the commissioner of police will have to comply. The head of the BDF will have to comply. Everybody, they will have to comply. They will just have to say, okay, and they will carry it out. We will be locked in our homes. You understand? There's food shortages already. And these are all planned. There's food shortages. I'm going to show you quickly on that. There's food shortages. So we will literally, you know, we will be begging. And when people are hungry, you understand? Some people, they get angry, and some get docile as lamb. They will just comply. They will just be little lamb. Okay then, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, ma'am. And they will do whatever is told to them to do. Some of us get angry. Some of us, you know, we will resist. And then there's others. And I hate to say, the masses may just, you know, just want to be lambs and feel that they're weak.
They want the easy way out, basically, because struggling takes too much effort. And it's a prolonged battle. It's not like you could just struggle one. We in Belize in particular, we protest one day and we done. But this struggle is a marathon.
This is a marathon. So just quickly, and then we're going to go to the other videos quickly. They're short, but we've got to do it because then we're going to discuss it. Very short. We've got to be keen and watch it, people. Got to be keen, because when I speak on this, the central bank, like I told you, they want to have one system. When this one currency, when this one system, so that the central bank, we are doing everything online. That's how they had us. That's why they had us locked in, you know. So now we have to purchase everything online. Everything. That's how they
90% of the world have decided to have a central bank digital currency. Bahamas already have one. I think they call it the San. And China has one. We will have a central bank digital currency.
Yes, and what does that mean? That means that everything we order, they will be able to see what we order. If we want to order, I'm not saying I'm going to order it, but let's say someone wants to order something that is, you know.
Maybe a sex toy.
A sex toy.
That's
you
know?
You people will see that is being bought. You understand? If they have some disease,
Yeah.
What's a bad disease for people?
Maybe herpes that they have.
Okay, yeah, herpes or AIDS or these
and
things.
they are antiretroviral or something.
Yeah, antiretroviral. Yeah. Once they order these things, people will be able to see that they're ordering these things. These are embarrassing things to some people, but they will see everything that is ordered. And if they want to block it and block your card, block your payment, they block it.
The governor of the England Central Bank said that digital money, I read it in the Guardian, will be programmable, meaning they could program it, stop it anytime they can. Just like digital could block your credit, make your credit expire. They have articles on it, and they have said that it will be programmable. They'll be able to program
it. They'll be able to program it. And then when they speak about the climate change, what will happen? Listen what they'll be doing. On certain days, they will tell you, you can't go out. Chill. You can't go to the sea. You can't go to this part of your country. You can't go here. You can't go there. You can't go on a plane. They will tell you when you can drive your vehicle, what day you can drive your vehicle.
MasterCard, in line with that, already have a voluntary where if I have a MasterCard, I don't know if it's in Billy, but it's in the United States, I could volunteer to sign up for carbon credits. And when I reach a certain carbon credits, my MasterCard stop work. It's voluntary now, just like the vaccine was voluntary.
Yes.
But down the road, it's not going to be voluntary.
It's not going to be.
If you reach, they have measures like if you travel from work to home, that's so much carbon credit. If you get on a plane, so much. And when you reach your mark, you have no more money. That's what they plan.
So you got to listen to these people. Listen to what Mr. Plummer is saying. And then when they speak about the recalibration of speech, by the way, before I move on from the central bank, how everything will be controlled. Imagine you want something, you have the money, or you think you have the money, but you're blocked from paying it. Remember recently when the Canadian freedom fighters' money
happened in Canada, regular. And also the US and the Western world did it to Russia. They took about $600 billion of Russian central bank reserve. They blocked it.
It's blocked.
They can't access it.
Remember the GoFundMe for the Canadian freedom fighters?
It's not impossible. And if they could do it to a big country like Russia,
Canada,
and if they could do it, Canada, which is so-called a liberal democracy, did it to ordinary Canadians who weren't doing anything wrong, they could do it to anybody.
And these people's money, they GoFundMe, they wanted to use the money to give their own charity of choice. Can you imagine take your money, you want to give it to the Canadian freedom fighters, and instead they say, no, we're going to take your millions of dollars.
That's when you have digital, they have more, and that's why they want to move to that. The whole world has decided, they have the Banca International Settlement, which is the central bank of central bank. They have decided, I wrote an article about it in 2020, that they have decided that they need to, the currency will be digital.
Yes.
And it's just to implement it. They have already decided that.
They've already decided.
There's documentation. It's no currency. They said it is a statement. They want everybody to have digital currency.
Derek Stewart says Donald Trump was going to work on fixing the corruption in the global structure. He was going to drain the evil swamp. So there were certain things he was fighting against. People didn't know it. Sometimes, you know, they had an issue with how he speaks, but they weren't looking at the real picture. You understand? Some of us, we saw what he was trying to do, but a lot of people didn't see what he was trying to do. They didn't see it until now. They're understanding now. A lot of them are understanding now because their freedoms have been taken away from them. No, that's how it is. Remember, we're going to go to you will own nothing and be happy. Ruben Martinez says, so basically your paper dollars, where they safe under your mattress, were useless.
Eventually, I don't know when that will be, but just they will phase it out. Because, for example, in California, they made a law recently, I think so, that in 13 years, you won't be able to use a gasoline car. It just will be illegal. just with the stroke of a pen.
A gasoline car, people. Remember, in Belize, for example, that's why you own gasoline car. We can't afford.
I know California has such
electric
a
cars.
They don't do it like this. They have a 13-year span. But I mean,
we're not using. No, I see. Isn't the new the mayor of Belize?
Yes, you have electric cars.
That's what he's moving towards, and that's what they're pushing.
No, it's big in Belize. The so-called
electric cars.
The blue bond that we just had, that we did to refinance the so-called super bond. I read that, and it has stipulation that we have to stop use a lot more of our marine waters or terrestrial waters and just reserve it. Right? So then we'll have less access to fish, generally. Yes. And they said do it gradually, so over a period of time, certain years will be off limit to fishermen. That's there in the agreement?
It's already there. It's already there. And the blue bond, remember, we delved into that, but those came with stipulations, yes. People. It came with stipulations. Don't make no goals full of that people just give us free.
It's all part of the limiting of the people's.
You understand?
Resources.
Link. What I wanted to do, one last thing before I go to the other video, is the recalibration of speech and human rights. Now, we see how our freedom of speech have been restricted. We can't post things on Facebook.
In Belize, they recently changed the libel law, and the media is up in arms race mode. The media will be heavily penalized for so-called misinformation. That's one of the greatest things they recently did it in Belize, you know?
Yes.
Remember there was a big controversy? So they already started it.
They've already started it. So people, we are literally highlighting these things so that you can understand if you were not seeing what was happening.
So there was a controversy in the media, I don't know if you remember it, when some media house was objecting to it.
Yes.
Because there was some stiffer penalties.
Because a lot of them have on Facebook as well, and it has really been to a point where you see that when it comes to freedom of speech, for example, a lot of you now are from Facebook, a lot of you are on Instagram and those Twitter.
If you say the wrong thing, they block you.
They block you on YouTube, they block you. I've been blocked umpteen times. Numerous times I've been blocked. As a matter of fact, I keep telling you, my page, my Zenaida Moya Facebook page is so blocked. I've been blocked for 3 months. One spell 6 months. They said people won't see my post. I still post, but there's times when they literally block me that I can't post anything, and then there's times when they go ahead and they allow me. That was like for 3 months, one spell, in another time 1 month, one after the other. But what they do after a while, they'll just allow me. I can post, but nobody's seen my post when it comes to Facebook. My page, my personal page. Yeah. And so that's how they block it. So people like me who's trying, who I am not one of their sheep. I am not one of their sheep. You see? And because I think for myself and I'm doing my research and I'm trying to bring forth valuable education, life-saving education to individuals, they're blocking individuals like me. They're literally blocking us, and I'm not the only one, but they're blocking us, and that's why I keep telling you guys, once you see it, I'll post it. Some of you have the notification, so you get to still see it on the Zenaida Moya show page, for example. Share it. So the recalibration of speech, they're going to block us, is what they feel, it's a narrative that they want to spin. So, for example, I keep saying, you're going to see certain individuals that they are pro-vaccine, pro-COVID vaccine. Oh my God, if they just post a little thing in 1 second, Facebook will allow 1,000 people to see their posts, literally. And then individuals like me, I may post 10 things or 5 things. No one will see my stuff, or maybe one person, because they blocked what I post, simply because I am not following their narrative. I dare to think for myself, I dare to research, and I'm not their sheep. And no, this doesn't mean that you have to be highly educated to be a sheep or to not be a sheep, because I see some very highly educated individuals. They are the biggest sheep. They are the biggest sheep that I have seen.
That's a great value. What do you value? Do you value freedom over being social status? Because that's what it will come down to, because they'll give you social status just to be their parrot.
Yeah, yeah.
They will make you president, prime minister, whatever.
That's right. I wanna go to the little, to the other videos. They're quick people, but you gotta watch them. Pay keen attention to them.
So if in Pillar 2 the tax rate had been higher at 25%, which was actually what was recommended by groups of tax experts the world over, and actually connects with the rates in some of the economies that are participating in the deal, then $17 billion more dollars would be raised for the developing world, for least developed countries and middle-income countries, than is the case now with the 15%. So 15% is too low, and it's driven by some of the tax havens that actually are pulling down. So, on the positive side, of course, it's closing loopholes on tax havens, and as you said from my quote at the beginning, that we believe that's extremely important, and that's good. But we are worried that this will be a race to the bottom, further race to the bottom in terms of corporate taxation, and countries that have higher rates might go down. And what we know from previous, critical moment experienced by the whole world in World War II, taxes were raised significantly, and corporate taxation in the US was very high, and it kept being very high for many years, and that coincided with high growth periods. So I'm sure the Professor can speak of that in greater detail, but there's a danger that we're not really using this important tool at this moment when we have so many competing crises, and really increasing fiscal space for countries to be able to invest on the most affected populations, and those that are really at the bottom of the society.
We're developing, through technology, an ability for consumers to measure their own carbon footprint. What does that mean? That's, where are they traveling? How are they traveling? What are they eating? What are they consuming on the platform? So, individual carbon footprint tracker. Stay tuned. We don't have it operational yet, but this is something that we're working on.
When it comes to the gas prices, we're going through an incredible transition that is taking place that, God willing, when it's over, will be stronger and the world will be stronger and less reliant on fossil fuels when this is over.
We need to accept that there will be some pain in the process. The pace that we need will open up for missteps. It will open up for shortages on energy. It will create inflationary pressures, and maybe we need to start talking about that pain is actually worth it, because if we don't, there's no business case, there's no economy, there's no welfare. But so far, I think we have been a little bit careful actually talking about the pain in the short term that is likely to come from this very important change. Yeah. We need to accept that there will be some pain in the process. The pace.
Okay, guys. Okay, guys. No, you just saw that. Those were certain videos I wanted to watch. The first one spoke about taxation. So they're speaking about some of the things. They're saying, all right, some of the taxation is, is too low. It's too low, they're saying. And they want to be able to have it increase. All right, why? They want it increased, why? They want to be able, they say, to get money and be able to pay for certain things and so forth. So pretty much, some of you will say, no, but you need to increase taxes on some people and increase taxes on some people. Well, some of you are experiencing right now. You used to think that it was only the middle class who would get taxed, didn't you?
Yeah, but everybody.
Only the middle class and the rich to get taxed. Aren't you feeling the pinch now? Are you not feeling the pinch? I see a lot of my brothers and sisters that are definitely not in the middle class, definitely not, in the higher income class. They are now being taxed. These lower income people where they catch and kill are now being taxed, aren't you? Aren't you being taxed now? Aren't you being taxed now? So don't turn a blind eye and say that, the taxation, everybody should be all right. So now you see that this isn't about, oh, you know, watch equity or so forth. It's all about a level of control, people. It's also about a level of control. There are certain monies that they will be raising, they will try to raise and so forth when it comes to taxes. But also, what are they going to be doing with this money? You'll be taxing people to death. We have a video. You will own nothing, but you will be happy. Our poorest of the poor, they're looking to tax these poor people to death. You understand what I'm saying? So, understand what is happening. That this isn't just, oh, you should tax the rich. No. Control people. Where will those money be, and why would they be taxing certain entities at such a rate? They want to move to 25% and all these things. These things are serious. Some countries already have it implemented. They want a state whereby there's total control. We will have a universal wage. There's a universal
State
wage.
implemented it. Universal basic income. When COVID hit, they implemented universal basic income. That way, the government have control, because if you don't do what they say, they cut off your income, basically.
Universal basic income, it's like, you know, it's like you're a picnic, you're a child. They give you what they want to give you.
And it won't be an affluent living.
No!
It'll be just for you to survive.
Wasn't that happening to people? Wasn't that happening to people during COVID?
Yes.
Weren't you getting your little $150 every 2 weeks? Were you not getting your little $150? How did you feel about that? If you had 5 kids, you said, oh, that $150 was too much. That $150 was too much. You darn right it was too much, especially if you were making $450, you know, through your sweat and blood. If you were working and you were making more, but now they decide, oh, we're going to give you $150 every 2 weeks, and you have to take that $150, maybe with a little pantry, or maybe with no pantry, and take care of your family. So don't think it's far-fetched, people. This is what they want to happen. So they said taxation is a tool, people, to carry out what they want. Other thing, measure the carbon footprint. Mr. Plummer just brought this up. They want to go the step now that you will be measuring, but remember, everything will be synergetic. They will be using how you pay online and all these digital currency. And
it's just like where they have a locator on your cell phone, and you can tell every place you gone. If you turn on the locator, how much hours you drive, how much hours you walk. The technology is right there.
That's right. So they will measure what you buy. Did you know now they said beef or meat? Meat, you won't be able to be, they don't feel you should be eating meat. So all of you who like meat like me, I'm a carnivore. So people who like their meat, they'll be, no, you shouldn't be eating meat because the carbon footprint is too high. The carbon footprint is too high. You know, these plants, they will expect, and you won't even be able to go out on certain days. So the carbon footprint, that's what they will be looking at, that you ought not to be going out and, you know, enjoying the greenery because you're going to destroy trees and you won't be able to go hop on that plane.
But I will tell you, it will be rules for thee and not
but
for
the
me.
rich people will have their private jet.
Correct. That happened in COVID.
As a matter of fact, they went to this meeting on their private jet.
Yes,
but we won't be able to jump on our little commercial flight. No, and we won't be able to jump in our vehicle or gas guzzling vehicle. You understand? Unless we get an electric vehicle, and even electric vehicle, they will have control. So the other thing now, the gas price transition. You saw Biden, you saw President Biden speaking about the transition. Well, it's a transition from fossil fuels, gas, and they want to move it to
electric. Because then it's easier to control a car when it's electric, it's computerized, and then they could shut it down anytime they want. They could restrict where the car could go. It's harder to regulate an analog car. But once a car is electric, it is connected to the internet, and they could stop it anytime they want.
Yep.
I understand why they want everything electric. It's a stepping stone. Because I understand that once something is electric and connected to the internet, they could shut it down. Mm-hmm. And they could say, oh, you're only restricted to go certain areas. Mm-hmm. And they could monitor how much, where you go, how much carbon footprint you're making or whatever. So it's, why they want the gas, it's not really for the environment. Let me tell you a little dirty secret because I'm into science. It costs more pollution to produce an electric car than to produce a regular car because of the mining of the rare earth metals and so on. But people don't know because what they see is that it's clean there, but I'm talking to produce it. Because they need some special metal like lithium, palladium, that's very difficult to mine and create a lot of pollution and destroy. So it's more environmentally friendly really to have a regular car, but the pollution is not seen. The pollution is at the mining. Nobody knows about mining and so on.
Yes.
But I could tell you scientifically, I could argue anybody that it costs more pollution to produce an electric car than a regular car due to the battery and the other equipment. They're highly specialized.
Yeah.
And so it's not because to save the environment. I realize there must be some ulterior motive. Because think for yourself, most people don't think, how could an electric car create less pollution when it's the same fossil fuel you use to charge the car?
Yep.
You don't see it, but BL is burning fossil fuel.
Yes.
So it's not really about the environment. That's a cover case. Like I tell my parents, I go to the library when I was a child and then I go look for some girl. That's a cover case to cover your back. I say my son gone to the library, I do some homework. So I think it's not about the environment. That's a cover.
It's just a cover. And the other thing that they spoke about, the last person spoke about, he spoke about missteps. Missteps. That there'll be inflationary increases, inflation, increase in prices.
You know.
There'll be food shortages. All these things they spoke of, didn't they? Listen, isn't it happening right now? Aren't we seeing all these, you know, it's hurting us. In the States, they had, what is it, baby formula shortage. Baby formula, people. Can you imagine baby formula? They also had meat shortage. Remember they had meat shortage? We've had shortage in so many different stuff.
They had where they didn't have electricity in Texas.
Electricity in Texas, I remember that very well. I mean, I was so happy I wasn't there at that time.
If you could give me a couple minutes, I'll explain something. They have tried this from way back. Before the First World War, you could travel the world without a passport. Ask anybody that. Research that. Then they used the First World War as a guise, and then they put in passport. You had to get government permission to leave and things like that.
Yes.
The Second World War, that's when they introduced massive taxation. I'm showing you how this is a third step, or maybe a fourth. Before the Second World War, income tax wasn't universal. Income tax, especially in the United States, was introduced somewhere, especially in this massive, they said it was only the rich and then they expanded to everybody. So we don't see income tax as a problem, but there was a time when the government did not charge income tax. So these people have done it from, and my grandmother never told me anything about that. So you don't know that this is a trend that they do every generation, where they give you less freedom, but you get used to it. For example, a child growing up now will think having curfew and getting permission to leave the country from the government if you're not vaccinated is normal.
Yes.
They will see it as tyranny.
Yes.
Because they never know. I see it as tyranny. And
of course.
They are tyrants.
Of course.
They are tyrants. I don't care what they tell me. I will tell them they are tyrants because one, I should have freedom of movement. Two, their so-called PCR test, according to the inventor Carimola, is not a good tool to test. It's for production. It produces more of something. 2 to the n. I don't want to get too mathematical. It's 2 to the n. So when they do 45 cycles, it's about trillions of times they reproduce it. More in the least is around 40 to 5. And so they'll find something there more than likely. So the PCR test is not meant for testing, it's meant to reproduce something.
Yes.
So the test is not valid, and the Spain Supreme Court proved it already. It's proven in court. So they have no grounds to stop anybody from traveling. It's legal, but it's unlawful. There's a difference between legal and lawful. I could write any law and make it legal. But when it's lawful, they have no authority lawful because they treat me like I am their employee. And they could make any rules on me. So that's one. The other thing is that this is a long plan. This isn't new. I read papers from Kissinger when he talk about food shortage and control the population of the world. This is generation and generation of people.
Henry Kissinger.
Yes, Henry Kissinger.
Yes.
Correct.
Secretary.
Correct. He says that there. So this is something, and also Alex Huxley, all those authors, they write about this already. These things have, from generation to generation, they planned it, right? And why they planned it? Because they know they can't do it. They can't do it one step. For example, when they locked us down the first time, they told us 2 weeks to flatten the curve. They never told us it would never end. When they gave us the vaccine, they said 2 vaccines and you're safe. Now they talk every 3 months.
Every 3 months, the booster, your
according to the Central Health Authority. So, when they do things is that they don't give you the full blunt of it and then they take it further and further and further and
it's like
further.
in Belize when we say give somebody an inch and they take on a foot.
We have recent experience with it. When the COVID, I knew what they were going to do because I'm a student of history and this isn't new. They tried the same thing in 1918 during the Spanish flu. There was lockdown, there was protest. These people have refined these things. Gates was involved too. I don't know, it's a relative of Bill Gates, but it's not his father. It's like a distant cousin. So this thing has been tried already and they have done it already. They just improve it. This is not new under the sun like the Bible says. There is nothing new. These people know what they're doing. But what they are counting on is that people won't want to be human again. When I say human again, go back to farming. Go back to talking with your neighbor instead of WhatsApp. Go back to feed your baby breast milk instead of the formula. For hundreds of years, centuries.
We have a video too on that too.
For centuries, people have been feeding their baby breast milk. We don't need no formula. Because of all the shortage. Oh, by the way, in 2020, Bill Gates and some investors created an artificial milk company to make artificial. So these things are crazy. So, but to really soften those people, the blow of what those people are, we have to be human now. This life we're living, we're not fully human. We have been partially automated. Everything we do is controlled by a technology. We have to move away slowly from it. For example, when they bring in this digital currency, and they will, I can't tell you when, simple things like make sure you have gold and silver so that you could trade. When I say gold and silver, wali gold chain, wali silver bangles, wali esclava, because they can't monitor that I give somebody one gold bangles to do something for me. There are ways where you have to be human again. I'm just advising that this thing is going to go through.
And the informal sector, what they're trying to do, they're trying to rein in.
Yes. But there are ways where you could still have some autonomy, but you have to prepare. You have to first have a food source, and most important thing which you need to have, besides money is the least important, is community. You have to have friends and families that have skills that you don't have. For example, I have a friend who sometimes do things on my vehicle that I can't do. And I write things for him, like when he wants a letter and different things. So that's what I mean, community. That with some people, you don't need money. Your money isn't good because they have other use for you. And you have other use for them. So for you to survive this,
you have to get a community. You cannot survive it alone, because they are not acting alone. It's not only the PUP and the UDP doing this. It's globally they are acting in concert. So we now have to have our own community,
Yes.
and we have to start to.
So what I want to tell you though is, you know, I see all right, so on LinkedIn, all right, I see Jacqueline Booth on YouTube is saying, good night, Jacqueline and Jake Booth, guys. Good night on YouTube. They're saying all government officials are lambs now and have been during COVID. And we see here Rachel Balaramos is saying 666 mark of the beast. One nation control the world. People will be starving. People will be starving. People till you take the vaccine. Bodies decaying in home due to lockdown. Even cannot get money from the bank to buy food. Ms. Moya, this is happening already. The final decision.
In parts of Europe, it's happening already.
The final decision, card using limited food. You understand? Everyone's spending money. And Charlotte Ferguson says, great point. Amber says, true. When it comes to saying what was said about everybody hates Trump, but he was trying to fight against the New World Order. Charlotte Ferguson saying brilliant, and Ruben Martinez saying, so Brian is saying the bartering system will be valuable very soon. I love that you take up that point. The bartering system will be valuable very soon, and that's why it's important that we literally go back to the land, ensure we plant, like he said, like I always push that point. Go ahead, I see some people, Karen Banner, I love to see when she's posting her things, and I see a lot more people, you know, they're Mr. Gray, I see a lot of you guys planting, and I'm so proud and happy for you, you know, Jacqueline and Jake Booth, I'm so proud of you guys, you're planting, and I just love to see that. But there's the Great Reset. I want you to play that video, the Great Reset, and right after that, it's very short, it's like a little minute. You will own nothing and feel happy. So go ahead, listen to these people. Now, what you just saw, you might be thinking that, see where it came from? The World Economic Forum. That's where it came from. It's not something that anybody made up, oh my God, somebody. It came directly from the World Economic Forum. These same individuals that I told you, they feel that they're the ones who should be running the ship. It's them and their people who they expect to be running the ship. And if you don't believe me, look it up yourself. Go ahead. We've already done that homework. So it's all a matter of you confirming. Go ahead. Go be our guest. Now, if you saw just now, you did see all these things happening. Okay, they said people are gonna bring food from Jones to you, and you know, going out into the woods and into the environment, into nature. You know, that pretty much will. You know, it's only if they decide when and how you can do that, because, you know, you'll be leaving too many carbon footprints, you know what I'm saying? So the point is that if you looked at that video, what we have been discussing is what the World Economic Forum,
which are very powerful people. They're billionaires and powerful politicians like
George Soros.
This powerful politician belongs to, even the president of China goes there.
Yeah, all the president of France, all these high-powered people. Yeah. It's these individuals who attend these forums. They're the ones who will decide what the rest of the people, because it's not everybody who get to go there. It's not like our family circle. Don't get invited to go there. They don't get invited. They will invite the bigger countries and those individuals who they feel can wield power, and then we just fall into line. That's how they expect us to do.
It has worked. It's just like commanding a military operation. You have the general, then you have different ranks, and they control the platoon. That's how the world works. You have the general. Yes. Everything works like that basically. So that's what they do. They have the elite group, then our people are just like 4 men above a small platoon, which is us. And they tell them what, they give them instruction. And how we know that? As I said, COVID is case in point. Point 2, before this particular government came up with the blue economy, I know that the World Bank had a forum, and they talked to the Caribbean and tell them you can't depend on tourism as much, you have to go to a blue economy. They have a book. So this present government did not come up with that. They took it from the World Bank. They got instructions.
They said just a few countries will dominate.
Yes.
Keep in mind,
this blue economy idea came from the World Bank. They tell you, you have to go into the same exact. So I read the book. The book costs $200. Very expensive. They are trying to implement what they got instructed to. You could look it up about the Caribbean blue economy. They didn't tell you that. They're not telling you somebody else come up with it. They look like, oh, they came. I'm telling you, it's a fact. The World Bank had a forum with Caribbean leaders and told them just that. That tourism now be so powerful in the future.
Listen, what Brian is saying. What Brian is saying is real things. Because if you looked at that video just now, you will see.
Tourism now be as big in the future.
They said that they showed the trees, and they said that will be an occasional tree.
Yes.
Not a staple for the good of the environment and our health. Listen, good people. This is the World Economic Forum. They said an occasional treat, not a staple for the good of the environment and our health. That's when they show the trees. What does Belize have a lot of? We have a lot of trees and water, trees. So for the good, they're saying for the good of the environment and our health, aren't we a lot of our people in the tourism industry? Our tour guides, all or people who try to deal with their culture, show their culture. Don't we use the trees? Don't we use all of these
things? Show you that they could shut that down anytime they want.
So that's what they're saying. They said meat. Meat, you won't be eating meat because meat is not good. Meat is not good, they said. You know, too much meat. You see? So they will be looking at these things. They will be looking at these ways how to control. I already showed you, let me see. You will own nothing, but you will be happy. That's what they say. They will be making organs, so who they feel should live, will live.
They have a system in China called social credit, where the government ranks you, and if you do bad things, you can't travel as much, you can't go certain way, and they punish you. That system will be implemented globally, where I will be rated, and if maybe, let's go say I say something bad about the government, or give misinformation. Misinformation means you say something they don't want you to say. That's what it means now.
Yeah.
It has turned to that. If I do so-called misinformation, they'll give me a restriction. Maybe they say, oh, you can't leave Belize district. You can only stay in Belize district.
Are they doing that already, people? From the time they said that if you don't have the COVID, if you are not vaccinated with that COVID, with their COVID-19 vaccine, you can't leave Belize? Are they not doing that already?
So that
people.
is a system they have tried in China first, and they have so-called, what they want to do is that we live in smart city. According to our article I read, they have a city in Australia that's the test case. Australia seems to be the test case where everybody, they're taxing right now in Australia so much per mile to discourage you from traveling far. They want to keep you right in that city. They don't want you to go from Belize to Kaya. They want you to stay in Belize district. Yes. They are doing it. So they, through taxation, they're doing it already. Remember that video mentioned taxation is a tool? So they're taxing people per mile they travel. So if I go to work, let's just say I live a mile from work, that's so much tax I pay. If that's 2 miles, double, 3 miles. So then when you want to travel far, and then you have to pay more tax.
Yes.
You already are traveling, that's what they want. They are doing it already.
They are.
I'm not talking China, you know. I'm talking Australia, a so-called developed country, a so-called democratic country.
I know, and I always say I'm disappointed in Australia. I was in Australia a couple of weeks, and I saw them as, you know, a country. Yes, one thing with them, they love people. They're a nice country, just like New Zealand was a nice country. I've been to both, and I just tell you, they're good people.
They're good people.
But one thing they are good at too, compliant. They are very compliant people. A lot of them are very compliant, like, you know, I hate to use the word sheep because there's the majority. The majority are very compliant people. I'm telling you. But there are some who will stand up and they will not comply once they feel it is not right. You understand? Once they feel it's not right. Yolanda R. Mackenzie is saying they're already doing that. You're correct, Yolanda. I want to tell you, there's this video that's transhuman.
Yes, that's the next.
Up that, and we do have one.
That's the next agenda.
You have to see these people. You got to watch
this. After the video, I explain and understand why they want to do it.
You have to watch these people because this, I see people are, you know, it's been rolled out now that they're saying from, what is it, 5-month-old babies, they want to ensure that they're vaccinated and they want to move them up to 11-year-old, 6-year. You've got to look at these people because if some of you would look at history and see what has been done with so many young persons, that's why you see so many young persons now, you want to know why all of a sudden everybody has, what is it that lots of little children have?
Autism.
Autism. Why?
In the Amish people, they don't vaccinate. They don't have autism. It's non-existent in a community that's not vaccinated.
Everywhere you see autism, my child is autistic.
Check Amish. Amish is some people like the Mennonites. They don't vaccinate none at all.
What is this thing now?
And they don't have autism.
Hepatitis now. The children after getting the vaccine now, they're getting hepatitis and hepatitis And if you don't believe me, go and Google it and you will see in the US there's a...
The new thing is monkeypox, and I argue that monkeypox, whenever you have any rash, it's when your body is detoxing something. Your body is toxic, and a way to get rid of the toxins is providing a bump. That's why when you squeeze a bump, sometimes you got pus and so in it. So this so-called part is a detoxing of your body. More than likely, those people have been vaccinated, and the reaction is their body.
They say they have some monkey vaccine.
So any rash is an attempt of your body to detox, to get rid of the poison or the harmful stuff. Squeeze a bump if you don't believe me. After a while, I'll see if you don't see toxic stuff come out there. So this monkeypox, those people are toxic.
Yeah.
For what I think is probably because of the vaccine, right? And the body is trying to save their lives. Yeah. To get rid of the toxic stuff through their skin.
One of the things that I read was that a lot of the people are gays. A lot of the persons getting it also are gay individual, right? And I don't mean happy.
Yeah.
Gay, homosexuals. And I do know that there was a point where they were pushing that these people with that were ill be the first one to get the vaccine to protect them.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if these individuals, because they were, they're homosexuals, they would be classified, what was the word?
High risk.
High risk.
That's what is the high risk.
You understand? And they had, there was another word that the healthcare system used when you have...
comorbidities.
Yes, say it, please.
They have comorbidities, that means they have other diseases.
Other diseases, all right? And so if you look at it, go and check it. Go check the statistics if you don't believe. Go and check it and you will see. So these people who have the...
Comorbidities. Right? They mean they have other diseases.
Yeah, and it's so unfortunate. But these transhumanists, you have to look at it because this is what they're gearing to. And if you don't believe me, watch it.
Yeah.
Watch it.
COVID is critical because this is what convinces people to accept, to legitimize total biometric surveillance. If we want to stop this epidemic, we need not just to monitor people, we need to monitor what's happening under their skin. What we have seen so far, it's corporations and governments collecting data about where we go, who we meet, what movies we watch. The next phase is the surveillance going under our skin. We're now seeing mass surveillance systems established even in democratic countries, which previously rejected them. And we also see a change in the nature of surveillance. Previously, surveillance was mainly above the skin. Now it's going under the skin. Governments want to know not just where we go or who we meet. Above all, they want to know what is happening under our skin. What's our body temperature? What's our blood pressure? What is our medical condition? Now humans are developing even bigger powers than ever before. We are really acquiring divine powers of creation and destruction. We are really upgrading humans into gods. We are acquiring, for instance, the power to re-engineer life. I know that in recent years, we saw populist politicians undermining deliberately the trust that people have in important institutions like universities, like respectable media outlets. These populist politicians told people that, say, scientists are this small elite, disconnected from the real people. I mean, all this story about Jesus rising from the dead and being the Son of God, this is fake news. Humans are now hackable animals. You know, the whole idea that humans have, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over.
So you heard it straight from the horse's mouth, and you can see that this is real, and we need to discuss it, because after all, we have a very short minute fourth industrial revolution, because you have to see where we're going. And now we in Belize, we're seeing you know, a lot of our people don't know where they will fit in, what job they can do, and, you know, there's a dislocation, and we have to understand, and those of us who are watching need to be able to educate. This show, we're not just talking just like this. We are trying to educate where we can. And now with you having some information and probably having a whole lot more information, you too must do your part to try and educate those individuals around you, because ain't nobody educating you. The mass media isn't educating you like that.
There's no money in that. There's no
money because, you know,
nobody's going to advertise with you.
We have videos whereby there's some doctors, not all, some doctors who are feeding off this because they get money. The more people they can vaccinate, the more money they are getting, and the more people they can bring on board to, you know, have symptoms or what have you, the more money they can do, the more PCR tests. We already discussed this already. The more PCR tests they can carry out, or rapid tests, the more money they have. You understand? And when our government is mandating these things, who's pocketing all the money? Is these individuals who are carrying out, you know, all these tests, these PCR tests, all these healthcare stuff. Yolanda Mackenzie says, but they don't want to tell people the truth. They don't want to tell the people the truth.
Well, the main reason is that they know that people won't go along it. Whenever, this is nothing new, whenever war is all about deception. If you have war, when the British was warring with Germany, they had a lot of fake planes and things that they put up, and they overextend what they have, and a lot of things that to fight the Germans. Every war is like that. That is normally when you look at the police force and the BDF, when the government sends a police to you, and it's usually some big guys, but most of the police force aren't such big guys. It's a deception, so you get frightened. Most of the police force are big belly guys.
Big belly guys, small little guys.
Yes, most. But the deception, when you see those big guys, you get frightened. So our warfare is about deception.
Yes.
Our warfare, even our BDF, most of our BDF aren't top-notch people, but there's an elite group of them, and that's the group that you will see.
Yes, an elite group, and they get to go study,
and all. Yes, so then you think, boy, the people, but the majority of them aren't. So it's whenever you war, you have to deceive, so you frighten your opponent. So our warfare involves some sort of deception.
Well, that's why now, so people, a lot of our people are being dislocated. You watch this video just now with this transhumanist agenda. I don't think it's far-fetched, people. No. It's already happening, okay? Please.
What these guys realize, see, human beings, they're difficult to control because all throughout history, at some point people rebel. At some point, look at history, slavery, you had white slavery, most people don't know, and then the white people rebel, and that's why they went from feudalism to capitalism. You had slavery of the black people, and eventually black people rebelled, and then they had what they call civil rights. So human beings always rebel against oppression, but it takes a while.
Yes.
Look at the lockdown. Why do you think they eased it? Because people were rebelling. You know how long it took before those Canadians stood up and rebelled? So they realized that they're not dummies. So they understand. However, if they could have a software in you, and they could shut you off, or they could emit. So the transhuman being, the transhuman agenda is a means of control. Because according to and you could go and look at the website, according to the Moderna website, that's where I got it from. The mRNA technology is a platform, it's a software that's programmable. They said that.
Yes.
I never knew that. Yes. I was doing research on it, and I went to the Moderna website, and that's how they describe it. You could go there. I don't know if it's still there, but I went there during the lockdown and so on. So it's programmable.
Yes.
They could add things to it, and maybe they don't do it right away because they're learning as they go along. So the part of the transhuman agenda is to have more control over the masses.
And it's already happening for schizophrenia persons. I'm sure a lot of you have seen the video. I could have shown it, but some of you may have already seen it, whereby they have been making pills. And what they do, they give these individuals, so when they swallow it, they know exactly where these people are going, so they track them.
Track them.
And this is straight from the CEO who makes it mouth, straight from his mouth.
So they want human beings, but human beings who don't rebel.
Yeah, the sheep. They want the sheep. Jacqueline Booth is saying, she's on YouTube, is saying, yeah, this guy is dangerous, changing humans into gods. It's a Tower of Babel all over again. And this is something whereby we looked at it and we, like I'm seeing it, Rachel Balderramos is saying, lottery numbers, pick people, take away your kidneys, cannot say anything about it. Chips and number on your hands control everyone's movement. And when we see what they are trying to accomplish, which is the fourth industrial revolution, people.
It's where, to simplify the fourth industrial revolution, is where biology merged with technology. So, according to the definition I read, the fourth industrial revolution is when you'll be able to edit genes, you'll be able to implant things in human beings, build a new heart. So, and you'll be able to hook up a human being to a mainframe computer. Elon Musk called it Neuralink in 2000.
Neuralink.
It's already there. Yep. So what during the fourth industrial revolution, they call it, you had the Internet of Things, where they hook up your fridge, your TV to the internet, the smart TV. The next move, according to the Canadian government website, is the Internet of Bodies. They want to hook us up. You think, let's just reason.
Internet of Bodies.
Yeah, look it up, you can Google it.
It is.
Do you think the internet, we need any faster internet? 6G and 5G is not for us, it's for the AI. Because
artificial intelligence.
Yes, it's not for us. You don't need all that speed, but they need that to manipulate a body like us. So the whole agenda is more, this is not new, this is just, they're using technology for control. In the past, they used to use force. Somebody with a whip to beat you. But they want to, the word they call it is technocracy, where experts and technology control society.
Yes.
You know, you have cameras everywhere, and then if I say a bad word, they had this movie with Sylvester Stallone where he was frozen for a time. Forget what they name. You curse, they give you a ticket right away, they hear the bad word. That's what they want to build. A world where everything you do is monitored.
Yes.
And anything the government could find you for, and if you, like what they do testing in the United States, you drive a parking ticket, you run a red light, you get the parking ticket in the mail. Everything is monitored and controlled.
Everything is monitored, all these cameras. Jahid X Abdullah is saying, and this will bring us straight into the Industrial Revolution video, Marvin. At the same time, Jahid Abdullah is saying, at the same time, the level of AI, artificial intelligence, and robotics will make the masses of blue-collar workers obsolete.
Yes.
Obsolete. Remember, they're already doing it with McDonald's and so forth. The masses of manual labor jobs. It's already happening. The capital elite are tired of dealing with human employees.
Yeah, they rebel.
And the unknown challenges attending. You see the human employees, they're unionized.
And they want to rebel, yeah.
So he's saying the capital elite are tired of dealing with human employees and the unknown challenges attending robots and androids are eventually far more predictable and far more cost effective. Look at Amazon. Look at how Amazon is through the roof. He's saying, very revealing show tonight, Brother Brian, is dropping a lot, and it's true. Question, what is the solution for those who refuse to accept the matrix?
The only solution I came up with is that you have to become more human. When I say more human, they tried it already. Most people don't understand. The Amish community was the people who rebelled against the first reset. They have a rule, they don't use nothing before the first industrial revolution. Like, remember, this is the fourth. Yes. They don't have no car, no nothing. So you have to farm your own community, something like what Big A do, we have to take it to the other level. Yes. And you have to be human, plant your own food. Correct. One, you have to aim. There will come a time in Belize, you mark my word, where you, just like a social security card, yes, you will need a digital ID to function in society. They already have, I read an article about it, that they are doing some commission or some kind of launching of it or some kind of, they're initiating it already in Belize. Mm-hmm. And Bill Gates talk about ID 2020.
They launched it, I think, a couple weeks
ago. Yeah, they launched it already. So, you see, like when you can't go to the bank, or you can't send money, or you can't, without social, it will be even worse than that, because the ID 2020 will have information about me. Maybe the school I went, mm-hmm, maybe where I live, yes, maybe my age, and yeah, maybe my favorite songs. It will have everything about me. Maybe if I went to jail already. Yes. So it won't start off like that, you know. Yes. Right? It will start off just an ID. Yeah. But over time, they will add a matrix to it. Matrix is just a way to store information. Yes. Other information storage. Other parts to it. And then you won't be able to, maybe you'll have to go into the store, you have to flash that.
Mm-hmm. That's why they speak about binary.
Yes, so
computerized.
this is not, they are telling you about it. They talk about digital ID. Mm-hmm. In Nigeria, 73 million people got their phone chip blocked because they didn't want to sign up for the digital ID. It's happening in Jamaica right now too. And you might think they can't lock down people. I have a lot of friends in Jamaica. And during the COVID, our lockdown was soft. They had 3.5 days of lockdown and 3.5 days when they could get food out of the 7. Mm-hmm. And that happened.
You're like animals. You guys want
my friend is a nurse. She's in poor, she's rich. And she said, how I get food? Because after 3.5 days, she had run out of food. Mm-hmm. Because I can't left. I have like a big refrigerator store, like 10.
And if you don't have lots of money to stock up on
food. And this is not a poor person by the shape, but it's not rich. And she was panicking when she was texting me. So if you think it's impossible for these people to do these things, they have already done it in a more rebellious country than Belize, Jamaica, which is historically is more rebellious. They did it. Yes. It was crazy what they were doing in Jamaica. I couldn't understand it. Yeah. They were doing some crazy things.
We have, I want you to we have other videos, but this one is very short. This is regarding the 4th Industrial Revolution. All right, Martin Griffith Sr. says, now we know why they don't want Trump to win the election, because he's against it. You got that right, Martin. That is why they didn't want, he was the one standing up and trying to defy them. He was saying, no, against it. And so they said, we're going to deal with you. You see? And people did not know what was happening. He was standing tall, but he felt he could have tried to do it again. He's richer than most presidents the U.S. have had, right? He was richer than Obama, richer than most of them. So he felt he could stand up and try to stop what they were doing. But what did they do? They used technology to manipulate the election count. We saw it in front of our eyes, and we saw what they happened. They used what you call the deep state. And they went ahead and they did what they had to do to block him from continuing on, because he was not following their script. He was not towing their line.
I forget which communist leader said, it's not who vote, it's who count the vote. I think it's Stalin who said that. It's not who vote, you know, but who count the vote.
Yes. And so now listen, people, you also saw what they said about immigration. All right, you saw that they said we will have to welcome refugees and we'll have to do better. No, nothing against refugees. We have had people living here umpteen years, and they should be a part.
Some of my ancestors are probably refugees too. Yeah.
But when they're going to change over and just decide, okay, we're going to bring on people and have them beholden to politicians, because that's what's happening, you know. Don't go fool you. When a lot of politicians, they decide that they will just, okay, with a snap of a finger, accept 60,000 or however amount of thousands of people. We're only, how many people is in Belize?
310,000 last estimate I went on the world meter.
390,000.
410.
410?
And change, yeah.
Okay, so if we only have that, and you bring a 60,000, 80,000, 70,000 people on us.
Yeah, we are very smart.
That will be beholden to one or two persons. Imagine what can happen. Imagine what can happen to we, individuals like we who dare to stand up. And this isn't about color, people, because I tell you, a lot of us are mixed. This isn't about color. Listen, when I did both my degrees in the USA, and I've been here umpteen times, over and over, my God, too many times. And I will tell you that when you're there, when an American, because I know a few of my American friends are here, good night, Calbert Bud, good night, my friend. When they come to Belize, they don't say, oh, I'm an African American. What do they tell you? What do they call themselves? I am an American.
That's all American.
So this is about color. When they come to Belize, I've never heard them say, oh, I'm an African American.
They put in your face that they are American.
I'm an American.
That you should treat them special.
And we should treat them like an American.
Yeah, that's what they're saying, that's the message.
But when they're over there, you have African American, Hispanic American, Native American, Asian American, whatever kind of American. I'm not sure all the Americans, but this is that divide and conquer kind of thing. And so I want to tell you, this is not about color.
It's bigger than that.
It's way bigger than that. This is about control of the masses, by the very few. So people, when they are going to bring in people, this could have been 60, 70, 80,000 people from wherever part of the world. And these people will be beholden to the one person, the two person,
who help them get the nationality.
Do you see how our say can be skewed, born and bred, or people who have lived here 5, 10 years who are now naturalized Belizean? Our say might not be the say going forward in an election, because it would be those persons, you know, you always hear that there's to be 15, sometimes 30% on the blue side, 15, 30% on the red side, and there's the middle. But when you skew that now, let's say and I'm not trying to be partisan here, and politics is in everything, no make no vote fool you. That's a part of it, and governance is right with it, and policies and all that. When that 60, 70, 80,000 is skewed now to just one side, who will dictate things? Who will wake up people? Jahid Afla is saying, I am a proud and grateful member of Brigade. I'm hearing your answer. We need to become more human and more humane. Communal agriculture and a shared sense of community are keys in seeing ourselves as part of the natural world. However, in terms of technology, there has been an ethical balance. We can't go back to the same Stone Age, but technology and the ruling technocrats must be our servants and not our masters.
Let me tell you.
It goes deeper, but another time. Albert Bud says late, but I'm watching. Rachel and Elizabeth Balaramos is saying, Miss Moya, flour lab and corn lab, and bread going back to olden days. Milk from the cow survival. You right up me, Alita. I love me lab there.
But what will happen, what I see there, I'm just doing from what I see outside, I believe, is that they'll reach a point where they will tell you you can't upload on the internet unless you have your digital ID. Right? In Australia, they have where you can't go on a social media unless you upload a government ID. You can't go on Facebook and so on. So I think I think eventually they will, if you don't participate in their new world order, they lock you off from their technology.
They will lock you up. I want to play, before we go, the fourth industrial revolution. It's just a little 1-minute video, but we've got to watch these people, because this is what Zenaida and we were discussing. People will become useless. Watch this single, please. Watch it. This isn't something that we are making up. We go straight to the horse's mouth, people. Straight to the horse's mouth. Whatever information we bring to you, we go straight to the horse's mouth. We do our research and we bring it to you. All right? Now, in fact, you go ahead. Discuss.
All right. According to the technocrats, we are living in the fourth industrial revolution, where man and machine will start to merge. That's why they're talking about Android. And according to Carl Schwab, sometime in the future, you'll have injectables, they will inject it in you, wearables, or some device where you hook up to the internet. And he did tell us, I'm paraphrasing what he said. So they want us to hook up to the internet. And why they want that? The main reason is about control, but they'll tell you it will be more beneficial to you. But look at history. Show me one thing the so-called elites of the society did to benefit you. Whenever they do something, it's to benefit themselves. They're not loving people. Yep. Look at their track record.
Yep.
Any freedom we had right now, my ancestors died for it. They never gave it up willingly. People died.
Because people, what you have to do, some of you might be saying, well, technology is a good thing. We have to, all right, listen.
But who controls the technology?
Who controls the technology? Isn't the technology now controlling us?
I don't have
First of all,
right?
just look at Facebook. They block you if you don't agree with them. YouTube, they block you if they don't agree with you. Instagram, same thing. Twitter, same thing. All the big...
and almost every country, I don't know if we have it in Belize, could bring down the internet. They did it in Egypt. They did it in several countries. They have a switch where we could... In Belize, they had a cable a few years ago.
In China.
Yes, in Belize, you have a cable that bringing the internet to Belize. At time a ship destroyed it, and we didn't have any telecommunication or anything. So whenever the government wants, they could shut down the internet here.
Yeah. Rachel Ann says, remember the movie Universal Soldier? Control the world. Robot control people. And this is real people. So this isn't far-fetched. This isn't far-fetched. Look at how our people now. Look, just case study. Look at Belize. What's the population of poverty right now? Come on. What's the
over 50%, 52%.
Over 60%.
Yes. Before COVID, it was about 52. It's definitely over
60%. And you look at that now. People now are, a lot of people might think everything is okay. And I'll tell you why. There's a lot of people, they can still get their little free internet wherever they can. Or they get it because also their kids are in school and they have to have it and so forth. But a lot of these people, they would post up like everything is good with them, everything is okay with them. Oh, and they post up happy pictures. But do a lot of these people not even live hand to mouth? They don't have anything to put to their mouth. They don't have food on their plates a lot of times. This is the reality, people. The reality. And my friend Ladyville highlights, sometimes he shows what is happening. He shows people and the conditions as to how people are living. The conditions, some of you would never know. Me, I had run, I was mayor for 2 terms. And I walked in different areas. And I'm telling you, some areas were terrible.
And it has gotten worse.
It has gotten worse. And their homes literally are floor, as in sand. Their floors are sand. You don't believe me? You don't believe people have floors that are sand?
In the city?
In the city? You don't believe that? It is real, people. There are some areas in Belize City where their floor is not board, it's not concrete, they're not bamboo, they're not nothing, not sheetrock, whatever it is, plywood. It is sand, people, sand. No, I won't say any names, but I will tell you, this is real. Where do they sleep? On some mattress that you would feel, what is happening? What is happening here? So this is real, people. Charlotte Ferguson said, I recently saw a commercial where now you can order Domino's pizza with your mind. Charlotte Ferguson also said 64% poverty. See? 64% poverty. So people, we're already at this. Remember they said you will own nothing but you will be happy? So these people, a lot of people own nothing, but you will look at them on Facebook and they look happy, don't they? They look happy. They look happy, don't they? You understand? Especially if you go and you give them a little handout every so often, they feel beholden to you. Now, they're carrying out this census. People will be going around with the census and so forth. So we will see, hopefully, even more improved numbers. Yeah. More improved, it might be higher. What is happening with this 4th industrial revolution? What Jahid had mentioned, what we had mentioned also, this robotics. People now, this industrial revolution, computers, everything being this technology whereby a lot of us who don't know about technology, we will become obsolete. Yes. They will have no use for us. What is the big thing right now? What is the big thing right now in Belize? What is the main job everybody is working in right now? What is the main job when it comes to technology?
Right now, it's most people are doing websites and so on.
Call center, website, those things. Everybody knows call center, call center, call center.
And they have an artificial intelligence that could do that. They're testing it, they're beta testing it in England a few years ago.
Even they will be obsolete.
Yes.
My God.
They have a machine that they're testing to do.
Did you know teachers can become obsolete too? Yes, teachers can become obsolete as well.
Let me tell you why. Because these robots will just have you memorize a script. They won't teach you. You'll just like play and then you repeat it. That's the level of understanding which they need.
And our teachers who we love, for me I think just about everybody loves teachers. I know I do. Because I walk after them. You know what I'm saying? I love them. But these people feel feel that even our teachers can become obsolete.
That's it.
Our public officers, they won't need a lot of the public officers because they will have robots doing it and it will just be done electronically.
And eventually, what will happen is that
Online.
your ability to have children will be restricted.
Like what happened in China, remember, for so
your
many years,
ability
people
to have,
only have one child.
So
that was real.
Eventually, you get the population will get watered down to a minimum amount that they need, but they will do it very skillfully because they know, because they are students of history just like me, that the people who are really in this is few, and if the many turn against it, it won't go through. So they want the many to comply. The only reason the COVID restriction was successful was because people complied.
Yes.
Because I can tell you a country right next door in Mexico that had barely any restriction. In Mexico, you don't need PCR tests to go in. They had lockdown for a while and the people rebelled. If the people rebel, the government have to back off. I'm not asking you if they will back off or not.
They'll have to.
Have to. I've seen it happen in certain African countries too. So the only reason they were successful with COVID was because of compliance. In certain states in the United States, they couldn't implement wearing masks and things because the people just didn't do it.
Yeah.
Just didn't do it.
Yeah.
So the
But now remember the pandemic treaty.
Yes, no, that's
Once
where it
they're
comes.
signed on, they won't have a choice.
Correct. Now, with the pandemic treaties that they want to legitimize what they're doing, because they say these experts say a pandemic and then you're obligated, you sign. And if a country doesn't do it, they could have sanctions. They say, all right, Belize isn't locking down people, Belize isn't vaccinating everybody, so therefore Belize will be cut off the SWIFT system and can't trade in US dollars or whatever.
You shouldn't think about your country, you should think about the
Yes.
world, they said. Think
And
global.
so they could just tell us, well, you know, you can't get food from, most of our food comes from the United States. 38% of our trade, last time I checked, the biggest trade partner was the United States.
Yes.
So they could just cut us off from that, and then we will bow.
Yes.
Right? We will bow. I've seen countries bow, bigger countries than us.
Bigger countries. I want to say Jacqueline Booth, she's saying great relevant show, great job of your guests too. So I want to give you the last word.
All right. All I got to say is that this has happened before. There's nothing to panic or worry. The key thing is not to panic, not to worry. When you panic and worry, you do stupid things. All you got to do is believe in yourself and be human. They want to make you inhuman. So whenever you're human and you help your brother, man, and you say, you know what? All right then, I don't need to be on the internet all the time. I'm going to talk to my neighbor. These simple things, they don't want you to do that. Have you ever seen the advertisement for Meta? When they put out Meta, they want you to hook up with a VR set all day. That's what they want. So my advice to you...
Look like a cartoon.
I saw it and I said, but this is crazy. Why do I want to see something in VR when I can go and see it real?
Metaverse.
Yes. So,
Facebook is now called
Metaverse, yes. So they want to... So the best way I tell you the solution I am doing for myself is that I realized I was falling in... I'm glad they did what they did. They helped wake me up. I realized that, you know, some of the things I am doing, I need to stop because I don't need to be on the internet so much. Because I used to be on the internet a lot. So you can't withdraw yourself. Well, you can, but it'll be very painful. But you can limit your usage and you can be more human. And I'm telling you, there will come a point, because I see it in other countries, where they will lock you out. I recently read an article where in California, they have made the COVID vaccine a part of the requirements for schools.
Yes.
Right? And I think that will eventually come to Belize. I don't know when, but I suspect eventually they're going to make it a part of requirements for various things. Right? And when that happens, you're going to face with a choice. Everybody's going to face with that choice. Do I give in to what they want just to survive, as people call it? Or will I take the risk and say no, and whatever may be? Don't be scared, you will suffer. Suffering is part of life. But I am guaranteeing you, if you say no, you will not die. Only way you die if they send some militant force to shoot you. But man, if you got a brain, you got a seed where you could cook fish from, you got things where you could plant. You could for centuries, for many people survive without government and without that. You could survive, but you won't survive the same way you survive. You might have to say, I can't drink a latte anymore. Yeah. I can't have pizza anymore. So don't be scared if they cut you off. They will make you suffer, but I am guaranteeing you, once you have a brain in your head, you will survive. So there is nothing to panic. And once you have life, you have everything you need. And the life they are giving you is not living. It's not really living. It is existing to serve them. They don't want you to live anymore. They want you to become their 24/7 servants.
Transhuman.
I do not consider, I don't consider what the world they offer me, that I have to take a vaccine, I have to register. I don't consider that living. I consider you a zombie. Because you have no brain now, you have to just follow order, go further and further. So what they offer is not life.
But you do know that what they're looking at, they're saying that with the transhuman, they're looking at, they want to live forever. That's part of what
that is impossible. That's fantasy.
They feel that by including the technology, they will be able to live forever.
Let me tell you technology. Let's sit down and reason. Electricity. Don't we have blackout? In fact, recently, MasterCard and Visa, billion-dollar company, went down. Those things will eventually break down. Even if it's just for a while, and chaos will reign. They can't build something that they live forever, I can guarantee you. At some point, something will go wrong, maybe a bird fly and knock something and destroy it.
That's what they're, I don't know what's wrong.
But that's impossible because maybe dust build up on it. At some point, it will break down, right? But that's not living. Living, one thing they have helped me, they made me understand that life is different from lifestyle. Life is just living and enjoying it. Lifestyle is having a big TV, having a nice car, dressing up. You have to survive this, you have to be able to give up your lifestyle. You won't be able to keep that lifestyle, I'm telling you. They haven't implemented it yet because they're doing it incrementally, but at some point, man, if they could do that to some basketball player and tell them if they didn't vaccine, they couldn't play ball. These are millionaires. These are smart, spry people who are well known. If they could have done it to the president of Tanzania, Botswana, all those African countries, when they refused to implement their COVID measure, they mysteriously died. So I realize who I'm dealing with. I'm in no illusion, but I'm telling you the truth. That I think it's a very hopeful time because you're going to have to choose. You're going to have to choose. Do I want to be human? Because remember, they want you to be human anymore. Or will I become their servant? And eventually, they're going to have to call the population because the technology is going to develop. It's like a guy tell me, he's a friend of mine, I won't call it, he's working somewhere. He's an engineer and he's training another engineer. Eventually they let him go to do his job. That's what will happen eventually. They will let you go and they'll be totally mechanized because it's more efficient. Transhuman comes from transition. So that's not the end. There's a
And that's what they're hoping to get.
They want to reach a certain level. So it's up to you. You have to make a decision. All of us will, me, myself included.
Nancy DePaul says, very informative as usual. Thanks as always, Zenaida. Thank you, Nancy. Charlotte Ferguson says, very intelligent guest. Love to hear from Mr. Plummer again. Rachel and Elizabeth Balderramos says, many parents saying no children taking COVID-19 vaccine. Yep. Nancy says, stand strong and trust in Ayawa, not men. Ahaya, not men. And Ruben Martinez saying, you know why it's so easy for California to try and implement COVID immunization in schools? Most of that state is dependent on the welfare system. Some sad but true. Hit the nail on the head, Ruben. That state is dependent on the welfare system. While they have a lot of billionaires and millionaires, the masses are dependent, and that's why they can implement the COVID immunization in schools to hit the nail on the head. And that's what they want. They want everybody to have, to be dependent on the state. Nancy says, only God can give everlasting life, not sinful men. That's so true. Charlotte Ferguson says, I have a question for Mr. Plummer. Some of these elite are living longer. It is something they are taking. And then Rachel Ann Balarama says, Brian Plummer, thanks for sharing important talk. One of your students at SJC Extension. That's Rachel Ann Elizabeth Balaramos. So, but Charlotte, good night, Nasri, Nazia, Martin, good night, my friend. He says, good night, nice show, love the topic. So, Charlotte says, I have a question for Mr. Plummer. I know we have to leave. Some of these elites are living longer. Is it something they are taking?
Well, there's a lot of hypotheses. There's the allegation that they drink adrenochrome, so they kill young people and they drink their blood when they're excited. There is the allegation also that they're involved in the occult, supernatural stuff. But the long and short of it is that they have been experimenting with this for a long time and they have made some success. And I've read scientific research where they take off, they did something with a mice and they erase it and they extend the life of the mice. They can do that, but it's not indefinite. There is technology that they could extend your life. They have it, I've read they did it with the mice. They have a thing like, you have a scratch record. You see like how a CD gets scratched? Yes. Because just like that, your body gets scratched up and damaged up and they have a way to extend it. Yes. So there is technology I know with mice. I've read papers on it. I'm a science nerd. I read a lot of scientific paper. So I do believe they can extend life, but it's not in perpetuity. At some point you die. Yes. At some point. I don't know when they could maybe extend it 10, 20, 50 years.
Yeah, that's why Nancy says, when Liz has one of the best, keep up the excellent job, Mr. Plummer. And Martin says, okay, I understand, boy, the time difference, you understand? You got mixed up with the time difference. But I want to say, people, this has been lovely. And, again, our job is to educate those, share this, let more people can see. We put a lot of time and effort. Thank you very much, Charlotte Ferguson. Thank you as well. And I want to thank you always, the viewers, all those on Max Television. I want to thank all of you for tuning in on Max Television. Thank you very much. And thank you all of you tuning in on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. Thank you, Twitch. Thank you very much. Thank you for tuning in. And we, as usual, I want to tell you that next week we'll be having an awesome show again. Again, it's always to try and educate, inform. Whenever you're ready and want to be a part of the show, tune in, contact us, and let us know when you're ready to be a part of the show. This show is brought to you through the courtesy of Sea Belize Vacation Rentals. Sea Belize Vacation Rentals is located a little less than a minute from the Halover Bridge. Where's the Halover Bridge? It's what connects Belize City and Ladyville. So we're a minute away from that. And we have awesome individualized vacation rentals. We have 8 units at different levels, 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom suites, studios, rooms. And so you can go on www.seebelizevacation.com. That's SEE, belizevacation.com. If you want to book your stay, or if you just want to book the pool, there's a 40-foot pool. One side is 6 feet. The other side is 3 feet 8 inches. So we have everything for everybody. It overlooks the sea. Our beautiful Caribbean Sea. There's an overwater deck, there's another deck, there's enough seating. You understand? There's, you know, every day we're open, and so you can visit us. And the number is 501-615-4465 or 4467 or 4485. Yes, Rachel Balaramas is saying, remember, extended twice a week. Rachel, I definitely will look into trying to extend the show to ensure that it is twice a week. I hear you, and I hear all those other individuals who have messaged to ask if the show could be more than once a week. So definitely we'll be speaking with Max TV as well and see what we can work out as well. And so we will try to do that. With that said, we want to thank behind our technicians for tonight. We have on the switchboard, I see Kelvin LeBron Moya Flowers, my son Kelvin. He's the main person behind the switchboard. I see Marvin Martinez. Thank you, Marvin. And so we have our team tonight. I want to thank everybody who have contributed by sharing. Good night, Rose Sebastian, my friend. Good night as well. And it is a pleasant good night. And I want to just ensure that you continue sending whatever information that you feel is relevant, because a lot of this information was sent to me. People inbox through Facebook, they inbox the show through Facebook, they send it through WhatsApp, whatever. So I want to thank you guys. All right? Good night until next week, Rachel. Play the ad and the Sea Belize ad. So guys, stay and watch the Sea Belize ad so you can see what it is, where you can come visit. Again, the number is 615-4465 or 4467 or 4485. Our Sea Belize team looks forward to welcoming you. Bring your family, bring your friends, bring your loved ones, and inform all your friends abroad that they have a beautiful place to stay. Go ahead, take it away. Good night. Love you all. Have a wonderful and safe week. Thank you.
Looking for the ultimate sea view getaway? Then Sea Belize Vacation Rentals and Tours, located at 5 miles Philip Bolson Highway near the Hanover Bridge, is your perfect sea view getaway. Come relax in one of our beautiful air-conditioned sea view apartments, studios, sea view rooms, or suites, all with flat screen television, hot and cold bath, and unlimited access to our spacious and refreshing 40 by 16 foot pool with 6 to 4 feet depth, so you can enjoy that fun and refreshing dive or dip in the pool. We sell ice cold drinks, so you can relax and unwind on our overwater or poolside decks. Contact us at 501-615-4485, 65 or 67.